It absolutely feels like they need to take some time away from this match.
Is it the worst of the year? Yes, it's also the worst of the year.
AEW Blood and Guts blew it out the absolute water clock. Welcome to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, a show where a rotating cast of wrestling fans from around the world come and share and debate their opinions, with live comments from all of you shown throughout, as after all, fans are what makes wrestling so special. So sit back, grab a beverage and enjoy the show. It is time to look at your hot takes that you guys have submitted for Survivor Series War Games 2025. And the first one comes from @WhereIsWire, who says WWE should get rid of an annual War Games match. I feel as though War Games is the type of match that isn't supposed to happen frequently on a yearly basis. It loses its appeal after a while. Overall, I agree. I agree with Where Is Wire. It absolutely feels like they need to take some time away from this match. They need to come back to it in a couple of years' time or something and make sure the storylines justify it. This isn't a traditional Survivor Series match. It needs a storyline to properly help it and to feel like it deserves that structure. Because in NXT, it did. The first couple of years on the main roster, it did. Now, it certainly does not. Because both matches let a lot of people down, Clark. But I want to get your take.
Well, first and foremost, Ben, I'm in agreement on maybe taking some time off, but more than that, I would say never, ever do it at an outdoor venue again. That absolutely for the seating arrangement, having two rings at an outdoor venue and having to put up the massive structure to hold the cages over the rings caused as many problems as even the booking of the matches itself. That's what caused half the issues in the building. Was the fact that you had to suspend the equivalent of two cages over two rings, and the placement on the baseball field is nearly impossible there. I don't think you can ever hold this event outdoor again. I think if you held a different PLE WWE wise in Petco Park, it's a different result. That I'm a mark for a good ballpark, and Petco is definitely one of those. And I really enjoy the venue. War Games did not fit this venue. The structure to suspend the War Games cage was obstructing as many views as anything. They're gigantic pillars, gigantic metal pillars,
huge
around the corners, like in a rectangle shape, because it's two rings and not one. And that's why, I mean, the floor seats were being sold as floor seats, and you couldn't see anything. Right? Like,
that's nuts.
It's not the War Games match itself that's the problem. It's the way that they went about booking it. It could have been great, but they didn't really do much on that. And also, yeah, with it being an outdoor stadium like that, made it to where like a lot of people weren't able to go ahead and see what they needed to see. I could only imagine like trying to see the other matches that aren't cage matches would make things harder. So like, what do you do at that point?
This one is submitted by Liam Harazi, who says AEW Blood and Guts was miles better than War Games. And look, Clark said this a couple of weeks ago. Shard also said this a couple of weeks ago, that WWE was never going to be able to top AEW. And I, at the time, had a go at both of them, saying, one, War Games hasn't happened yet, but secondly, yes, it's not going to be as violent because WWE it's not technically a PG product anymore, but it is more of a PG product. A lot of what AEW do, a lot of WWE's audience wouldn't feel comfortable watching that visually, so it didn't need to be that violent. But I didn't mean for them to just not make it violent at all. Both of these War Games matches were potentially the most tame War Games matches I have seen in my life. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Io Sky basically stole the show with one spot, and that was about it. So, to answer your question, yeah, AEW Blood and Guts blew it out the absolute water, Clark.
Yeah, I think the advantage of, number one, the extra violence. Number two, they probably had a slightly better story going in, but also they sort of underpromised and overdelivered in a way that WWE sort of overpromised and underdelivered. I do think that by comparison on paper, it's impossible to deny that Blood and Guts outperformed War Games this year.
We got an interesting comment here from Fernando saying that if WWE aren't allowed to do violent matches, then they should not book matches which will require violence. I disagree, and the reason I disagree is we've seen WWE do good War Games matches multiple times before. The issue here was the build, and just for whatever reason, they were the least violent War Games matches I think they've ever done. I mean, there was basically no weapons. It felt like neither match went on too long. The cages were hardly involved apart from jumping off of them. It was weird. The next question is from @mcode900, who says, having each entrant have their own entrance was dumb. Bring back the shark cages next year.
This isn't the Royal Rumble. This isn't a battle royale. This was a War Games match. The whole thing about the shark cages is like you kind of get to see what everyone's doing while they're just waiting their turn. So yeah, I'd have to agree with that take. Like, it was pretty dumb. You have Jey Uso sitting there on top of the cage, just like vibing with everyone. It was like, what part of War Games do you not understand? Like, we're supposed to be at war, not just sitting here partying. Like, there's supposed to be more to this. It's called War Games. Like, what are we doing? Like, there's no war. Where's the war? It's just games.
I'm actually going to disagree with you on the shark cages. I think shark cages were and always have been absolutely dumb. They were never a thing of the original War Games. I think bringing them in NXT, it worked at times, but then as soon as you're having all-star War Games, I mean, last year, having CM Punk and Roman Reigns in the same shark cage was actually more interesting and more distracting than the actual War Games match itself. So the thought of having Brock Lesnar and Logan Paul standing next to each other in a shark cage, I think it would have just distracted everybody.
I still think that the idea of just like seeing them at kind of like ad lib and everything in the cages would, honestly, I find it very nice because like
It distracts you from the match though.
I hate the shark cages.
but the match doesn't start until everyone's in there.
From a purely athletic standpoint, if you're going to put a bunch of people in a small shark cage for a portion of time like that, you can't do your normal warm-up. Yes, Rhea Ripley did some pull-ups in there and stuff. You can't stretch like you normally would. The risk of injury and stuff like that, staying stagnant like that, even in an elimination chamber match, has always bothered me. Just run out to your music. Play the entrance music and just run out. Just like you want to get in there.
The last hot take of the day is from Tyler K_25, who says that Survivor Series wasn't as bad as people are saying. People just want to complain about any and everything. Yes, sure, it wasn't perfect, but people saying it's the worst PLE of the year are flat out wrong. I agree that it's not the worst PLE of the year, but at the same time, on this show, we've covered all these issues with it. No way can you say these are unjustified complaints. No way can you say that people are just complaining too much. But also, no way can you say there are things which aren't positive about this show coming out of it. Because like we said earlier, like Donnie said in the comments, there are a lot of storylines which are very interesting coming out of this PLE event. But Angie, I want to get your thoughts.
It's not the worst one. WrestlePalooza is right there. WrestlePalooza is right there. Come on now. But yes, as far as for like out of the big four, it was pretty lackluster, especially the fact that this is the last of the big four of the season. However, I will give it props. I'm looking forward to Monday Night Raw now because now I want to know who in the heck was that?
So I've attended in this calendar year the Royal Rumble, AEW Revolution, both nights of WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, and now Survivor Series. And of the ones I've attended, yes, it is the worst one. Is it the worst of the year? Yes, it's also the worst of the year. No doubt about it. I managed to have fun. I love Petco Park. I enjoy that venue. I feel like they got messed around here, and I'm afraid we're not going to see a return anytime soon to Petco, and that's a shame because it's a great venue for professional wrestling. It's a great wrestling crowd. It's a hardcore wrestling crowd. They filled the venue despite the logistical nightmares that were created not by not by Petco itself. And so for me, yeah, absolutely, it is as bad as people say.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Clark. And thank you to all of you for watching at home. We will see you same time, same place tomorrow. Peace.